I know it's been a while to whoever's watching this, but for us, it has been a while. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. I'm Korea. That's Ari. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. I know, and you guys know that maybe this basketball, mostly content gets a little boring after a little while. We kind of made that agreement as well. So we're going to be switching up this channel for a little bit for more of our fantasy football viewers. Well, we have the fantasy.football expert right here in the room with us. So just want to get out of the room. We're going to be switching our content now. And, we may see us on TikTok. You never know. So, but yeah, for now, it's going to be more fantasy football focused. So if you're looking for basketball or MLB, we'll obviously have that in there, if big storylines come out. But, a lot of this is going to be more now focused on fantasy football until mini camp, and then obviously OTAs, and then bam, the preseason's here. So, Ari, first off, how's your week going? Obviously, we're in the middle of May. It kind of seems like we're just getting closer and closer to the beginning of the new NFL season. Obviously, with already this crazy off season, draft has settled in. We saw all of the undrafted free agents sign and find a new home. Ari, how you doing?
Yep, I'm doing well. Tomorrow is the release of the NFL schedule. Until then, we can start to see the matchups for week 1, week 2, and so on. So it's just another kind of step past the off season. We had the NFL draft, which to me kind of starts the redraft, season for fantasy, because now we know where everyone is at that point, basically. Obviously, there's still some free agents and maybe some trades that will happen, but for the most part, we know where all the players who will be playing or what team they're on. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to talking more fantasy now that it's kind of officially the kind of season for the upcoming season, so to speak.
Yeah, and also we're going to get into more of that NFL schedule release on Monday when the schedules do come out on Thursday. But also you mentioned it, not only just for an NFL standpoint, but also for fantasy football. Now we know not only who's playing on what team, but now tomorrow we're going to find out who's playing who when. So, that could definitely be a big factor for, some players in particular division matchups, maybe later in the season. Some big non-conference, non-divisional matchups we'll see. We'll get on to that on Monday, but we're going to get right into it now. And we're going to start off with some Sony Michel news out of the NFL. He is now signed with the Dolphins, and it's kind of crazy. You think this backfield is already crowded enough with Myles Gaskin, bringing in Chase Edmonds. Now they bring in Sony Michel. They already brought in Raheem Mostert. It just seems like this backfield is too large. And obviously it's just like how the Niners did it. Obviously Mike McDaniel coming to Miami, but you see the similarities between the Niners right now and the Dolphins. And honestly, you can point out, obviously committee in San Francisco bringing that to Miami. Their star wide receiver, Deebo Samuel. Now Miami has a star wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. Quarterback issues on both sides between is that a good glance?
Please Memphis is up by 40 right now.
Oh yeah, don't even talk to me right now. I don't want to talk about it. We're just moving on. But yeah, Sony Michel. I don't know how they're really going to use this man, because it seemed like this backfield is already so crowded. It's already been crowded. Miami has always been using the committee pretty much since I'd say for about a few years now, but now it seems like this is pretty much one of the most crowded backfields I've ever seen. First, Ari, just from an NFL standpoint, what do you make of this signing for Michel with the Dolphins?
Yeah, you mentioned Mike McDaniel going from the 49ers to the Dolphins, and it definitely seems like he's trying to bring that same type of philosophy of kind of run first, and kind of, I guess, knowing how often running backs can tend to get hurt, you can never have enough depth. So, I would say I'm more surprised that Michel wanted to go to Miami rather than Miami wanting to bring in Michel. Obviously, we don't really know what other offers Michel got, so maybe that was his only offer, really. I know he had visited a couple teams. I think Baltimore he visited as well. But I mean, honestly, we don't know what offers he got from what teams. Maybe that was the only offer he got. But from a real life standpoint for the Dolphins, you can never have enough depth, kind of knowing the injuries to the position. So yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense for Miami. Obviously, you mentioned it kind of makes it a headache from a fantasy perspective, but I think it will shape out. It's just kind of predicting how it will shape out.
Yeah, from a fantasy standpoint, obviously this is not the greatest move. It's already been so crowded with Gaskin and Ahmed last season and the previous season before that. And then they bring in Chase Edmonds, like, well, that's going to make it a committee. And then they bring in Mostert, and we're questioning, well, what are they really doing? And now they bring in Michelle, and it's like, well, at this point, you might as well just run every running back for a different down. So, yeah, from an NFL standpoint, obviously kind of mocking what the Niners did, previous seasons with that running back, just classroom stacked from top to bottom. And then obviously the health of these running backs too. I mean, we see Raheem Mostert. It seems like this guy tears an ACL or something every year, and he's obviously very, very non-dependable for fantasy. But and then we see guys like Chase Edmonds, who's a more of a receiving back who, is definitely more of their third down back. But then they bring in Sony Michel, who has had experience as a 3-down back in New England, but now he went to LA, and obviously he was sharing time with Cam Akers when he was down, and what's his name? Henderson. Yeah, Henderson before he went down as well. So, but from a fantasy perspective, obviously horrible move for the Dolphins. I just stay away from the Miami Dolphins backfield at all costs unless you have no running backs available on the waiver wire, and the only team playing is the Miami Dolphins. So,
yeah. I mean, I think just from a contract perspective, Edmonds is going to get the kind of first crack at seeing the lead role because he got the most money. But you mentioned last year, we saw Michelle when he got the opportunity to start, he was really solid. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to, at least 2 to 3 of them will have a role at all the time, I think. So it's kind of a headache in that case. But, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of where they all go. And maybe it's best to kind of draft the one last, like late in those rounds, just kind of take a flyer on that because Miami's going to look to run the ball one way or another.
Yeah. Oh, and it looks like we lost Ari, guys. It's well, and there he is, and you only can see he's shaking his head.
That's all I had on that topic. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I mean we might as well get right into it. So we're gonna switch up this content now. We're gonna be doing a live mock draft on Sleeper right now. Testing the early waters. It's only May, of course, but as we said earlier, the offseason goes by really, really fast. And now we already have some rankings out for, top 10 in fantasy. And pulling up right now is if you can see, our 12 team. It's a PPR snake. So
yeah, we're just doing one quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, just for the sake of the mock.
It's early.
But we're gonna do them like live with the community in the future. I just wanted to do this one against the computers to make sure it all kind of worked out like we wanted to. So just for a heads up.
Yeah, let's see how this goes.
So I'll just start it. Okay, turn off the sound. Wait, let CPU auto pick. Bro, I thought it was just auto pick for the entire. I thought it was just automatically auto pick. Wait, let me just.
I guess it does auto pick.
You have to like manually say when. Okay, whatever. I'll just manually do it. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, so Korea, you're up. Who are you kind of looking at with this pick?
Well, obviously right now, the board is pretty stacked. Just go 1 through 6. I mean, right now you have 7, and that is Jay Jettas right there. And then 8. You see, it's just there's a lot of options here. As you can see, why is this? Oh my gosh, technical difficulties, guys. Now it's not working on my end.
Wait, let me pause it. Are you in the app or?
I was, and then it just kicked me out saying I don't have any connection. I was like, what? Safari can't open the page because it could not establish what? Okay, let me. Oh, okay. I lost Wi-Fi. That's why.
Okay. The perks of being live. All right, so I'll just go over the top 6. So we had McCaffrey go 1.1, which is a bit of a surprise. Obviously, this is a computer, so it's not going to be 100% accurate to what you'll see. But I think normally you'll see Taylor go at the 1.1, but he went 1.2 here, followed by Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams at number 5, first round receiver off the board, and then Austin Eckler. Again, in the future, we're going to be doing this with actual people, so those will probably be a little bit more accurate than this one, but we just wanted to get the first one out of the way just with the computer to make sure everything worked out and whatnot. So
I mean, yeah, one of the bigger surprises off the board is obviously Devontae Adams, and there's obviously a big question right there. I mean, Devontae Adams, yes, he is that guy. We've seen him play, but now he's in a new system, and we haven't seen him, as in a in a Vegas uniform yet. And I mean, what does this mean? I mean, obviously, in terms of what I've seen out of Devontae Adams, obviously he's that guy, but a lot of people question who made him. Did Aaron Rodgers make him, or did he make himself? So there's obviously that big question mark. But okay, now I'm back in, so I guess we're good now. But I want to get back into that top 4. Jonathan Taylor, obviously a lot of people have him as a consensus number 1.01 after his just crazy year on the ground. Christian McCaffrey, definitely a big risk going at 1, so that'll definitely be interesting to see. And then, Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, they're always reliable, but Dalvin Cook a little injury prone, maybe a little something that's scared to see, especially in a stacked offense like that. But now, interestingly, Kevin O'Connell, new head coach of for the Minnesota Vikings, kind of has that style like the Rams do that they can bring to that Viking system. I think it works perfectly. I mean, Derrick Henry, obviously, now I think he'll be one of the more main offensive guys now that A.J. Brown is out. They do bring in Traylon Burks, yes, but I mean, when you want to talk about pure like running backs in this National Football League, you look at Derrick Henry as that guy. And then Austin Eckler, he is the PPR guy. I mean, you see how many receptions he gets per game. He is end zone territory dependent for you. And I guess you can unpause it now.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about McCaffrey because I know a lot of people are gonna be completely off him because of the injuries. So obviously there is that kind of big injury risk, but at the same time, we've seen him dominate every time he's been on the field. So that's where it kind of comes into play of whether you're risk averse or not in terms of how much risk you're willing to take. Obviously, you tend to want to play a little bit more safe, early, in the first couple of rounds. But it'll be interesting to see where McCaffrey goes, like kind of in real mocks and how far he falls. Depending on how worried or scared, if you want us to call it that way, people are of his injury history the last couple of years.
So now, obviously, I'm at 7, and right now the top 3 are all wide receivers. You have Jay Jett, as I already said. You have Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill. Definitely stay away from Tyreek Hill, especially in that situation. And this one's obviously kind of tricky because obviously you want to say Cooper Kupp after his amazing performance last season, Triple Crown winner. I mean, that man caught everything. He was in the end zone. He was Matthew Stafford's favorite receiver. But then again, you have Justin Jefferson, who obviously has proven to himself to be that guy on that Minnesota Vikings team. But I mean, stats are worthy, and when you look at the stats of Cooper Kupp, that man was just lethal. So you want to, I obviously Jettas would be the clear pick, but I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp just because I know that this man will come out every week and just ball like he usually does.
So you went Cup, but then we saw the two receivers go right after him. So kind of looking at the running backs, we got Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Swift, Chubb, Kamara. And then wide receivers, we got Diggs, Chase, Debo, AJ Brown, Lamb. I'm thinking going running back here based off who's available. And I'm looking at the top two between Harris and Mixon. Obviously, Harris, no more Roethlisberger, so how will the offense look under Trubisky? And then Mixon, you got the improved offensive line in
Or
Cincinnati.
Pickett, or Pickett. You can't say
Yeah,
Trubisky.
Pickett. That's going to be a quarterback battle. But I'm looking at Mixon here. Improved offensive line. The offense overall should only continue to get better in Cincinnati. Obviously, all that young talent, with the Bengals, I think they're going to only get better with the better offensive line and whatnot. So I went Mixon, and then went Diggs and Chase Swift at the 1-2 turn, followed by Travis Kelce, the first tight end. So we still have Najee Harris on the board, Chubb, Kamara. And I mean, I talked about Harris last pick, and he fell, so I'm just going to take him here and kind of go running back. I always say go
That
best
was my
player
pick,
available.
Harley.
I always say to go best player available, and to me, those are the two best players available at each of those picks. So you're up.
All right, that was my pick. I'm a little mad at you for that one. I'm very, very upset. Just pick Stewart. But all right, and after that was obviously followed by Chubb and Kamara, and those were my other running backs I was going to draft as well. But now I have a love-hate relationship with Saquon. Obviously, I want him to get back on the field, and I love what he does, but he is the worst player I've ever drafted in fantasy football last year. I can't. I have told myself morally I can't draft any more New York Giants after last season, and I think that's going to continue to this season. I can't do it. Instead, I'm going to go. But then again, Debo, his situation with the San Francisco 49ers, you don't know what that's going to be like right now. So I guess I'm going to have to go with AJ Brown on the Eagles. I know it's a bold pick, but I can't trust. I mean, you see Debo's situation right now. Look, he said he's probably not even going to play for this team because of his frustrations, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. And then with Saquon Barkley, we saw last season. I know you're high on them this season, and I definitely can see your point there. But at the same time, I just can't see him, being that guy because it's Saquon. I mean, he had when he has a decent O-line, he looks good. But I mean, yes, they have Evan Neal who is going to help with that, but it's going to take a lot to help this Giants team right now. And I think Saquon is going to have another bust year. I don't see him having that great year. I think it's going to be high expectations, but now it's my pick again. And now we kind of have to go running back, and I'll go with Mr. Old Reliable for me last year. I've had him already, he's been a keeper for me in fantasy for a very long time. I'm going with David Montgomery.
Yep, definitely super, super safe. And towards the latter half of the year last year, he started seeing more involvement in the passing as well. And we saw, Tariq Cohen get released. So if Montgomery can kind of see that 3-down role again, he's definitely, kind of as safe as it gets in this kind of range. So I'm up on here at 310. We still have we saw two quarterbacks go off the board. Josh Allen 3.1 and Mahomes at 3.6. Running backs Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Jacobs, Leonard Fournette. Wide receivers we got Hopkins, Deontay, McLaurin, T. Higgins. So I know I'm running back, but there's really no wide receivers that stand out to me right here. And because it's two flex, I'm going to take Cam Akers here. I really, really like him. He came back surprisingly late last year. from the torn Achilles, which was way earlier than most, expected him to come back from that type of injury. And he looked, pretty good given what he's coming off of. And so I think with the full offseason and now Michelle, which we expected was gonna leave the Rams, and now Akers has a chance to take over that kind of workhorse role. So I feel super confident in him here at the late third round. I consider him even like late second, early third potentially. But now we look at wide receiver. We saw Hopkins and McLaurin go off the board in the last 4 picks. So we got Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore available right around here. And I'm never gonna purposely avoid taking a running back and receiver on the same team, but unless it's the best player available, and to me, T. Higgins right here is the best player available to me here at 4.3. We saw him show flashes last year. It was kind of between him and Jamar Chase, kind of going back and forth a little bit, but I think just the improved offensive line is going to help the entire offense all around. And so, Higgins as a wide receiver 1 isn't super ideal. He's a more wide receiver 2, but given who I have at running back 1, 2, and 3, I feel pretty confident with Higgins right here.
Ari, if you steal one of my running backs one more time, I actually am going to smack you. You've done this twice to me. I can't deal with this. You've stolen – first you stole Najee.
I don't know if Akers is going to fall that far to you, though, either way.
Yeah, he shouldn't fall that far. But now I'm in a position where if I draft a running back right now, it's not really looking too good because obviously J.K. Dobbins coming back from injury. 5 seconds – I don't like this pick. I don't like it, obviously. That quarterback, Mr. Running Back himself, Lamar Jackson, who just got taken off the board, ironically. He's that guy. But, when we saw J.K. Dobbins, we saw great flashes, but then he got an ACL injury, and he missed the whole 2021 season. So we haven't seen him in a whole year and a half. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how he transitions back into that offense, But now it's my pick after all that, and looks like I found my quarterback, Ari Kozlow, Mr. Joe Shiesty himself.
I like it. Okay, so looking at quarterback today, we got Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, Stafford, running backs, Miles Sanders, Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt, James Robinson. And then we start to get in. I think the rookies are going to go way earlier. Like they're going to be off the board like Breece Hall is, but
Christian Watson.
Wide receiver, we got Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman, Traylon Burks. I'd take Breece Hall here because I think he's going to be off the board in the normal draft. I'm just going to avoid him for that reason because normally he'd be off the board. So here I'm going to take my wide receiver 2 and Jalen Waddle. You talked about Tyreek Hill earlier, and there's arguments to both sides about whether or not Tyreek Hill is going to help or hurt Waddle. He'll help take coverage and whatnot off of him, but he's going to take targets as well. But I just think the two are going to work. They're going to be nightmares for the opposing defenses. And so I think if you just get Waddle the ball in open space, he's going to be like we saw last season. Especially kind of towards the latter part of the season when he started to kind of turn it on. I think those two are going to be a nightmare for defenses to try and cover. And then now I am up again at 6.03, I believe. And here I'm going to take a tight end here, and I'm going to take Dalton Schultz. With Amari Cooper gone, I think, we saw him kind of establish himself last season. And, they cut Blake Jarwin, and then now Amari Cooper's gone, and Michael Gallup's going to miss early part of the season. So I think, Lamb's to be number 1. I think Schultz has a good chance to be the number 2 target for Dak Prescott, at least early in the season. So I think he's super solid value this late.
That's 3 times. You need to stop doing that. I was literally about to pick Dalton. He's not going to pick. He's going to pick. I was like, he's going to pick Dallas Goedert. Well, now I need a tight end. I'm going to settle with Dallas Goedert. I know, yes, I have A.J. Brown as well, so that's obviously a dichotomy there, but he's the best available tight end at that position. Now we can see some of the rookies now being taken. We saw Traylon Burks go first, and then Breece Hall, and then Garrett Wilson, and then Drake London, the latest. Drake London, the latest receiver to be taken. That's a rookie.
And again, this is computer, and the rankings are not completely finalized, obviously. So Breece Hall is going to go probably like round 3, I think, in most leagues, and other guys will go earlier. So again, that's why I didn't take guys like Breece Hall, because it's just not going to be realistic if I took them in round 6 or whatever.
Yeah, and right now in round 6, I see one of the biggest sleepers right here on this board, and I'm gonna snag him. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to be one of the biggest sleepers in this league this year. On that offense, that horrible Detroit offense. Obviously, he has Jameson Williams right next to him, but I think this kind of does help Amon-Ra St. Brown, because Jameson, his speed is ridiculous. It may, be that 1-2 duo in Detroit, and Jared Goff has plenty of receivers to throw to.
Right. So looking at wide receivers here, I have one more flex and a quarterback to fill in this mock. We got Elijah Moore, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Brown, Robert Woods, Hunter Renfrow, Darnell Mooney, Juju Smith-Schuster, and I think I'm going to go a little safe pick here with Brandon Cooks. He's been undervalued his entire career in fantasy, and I think that's going to continue, especially if he goes this late. I think he might go a little bit earlier than late 7th round in actual drafts, but I don't know. I mean, with how much people have been, including myself, myself included, have kind of been undervaluing him because of his situation and moving teams and whatnot. But he's performed no matter what team he's been on, and he's stayed in Houston, where he looked pretty good with Davis Mills for most of last year. So I like that a lot as my wide receiver 3. And then I guess for the sake of this mock, just because I'll fill up the roster, even though we don't have to technically. And I'll just take Stafford here. Nothing's going to change. I think Allen Robinson, you can argue. He didn't have Robert Woods for much of last year, so them bringing Allen Robinson only going to help that offense and Stafford overall. Stafford should have another huge season.
Yeah, Stafford is definitely going to have another huge season. I obviously, off of his Super Bowl reign, that man's been playing great, so shout out to him. But now with my final pick, obviously, I don't have to, but obviously I do have a flex open, so I can take anyone. And I'm going to take a receiver here, and I think this receiver is definitely a sleeper as well in the NFC North. I think he can break out into that number 1 role now. I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney. Obviously, with Allen Robinson now leaving, that kind of opens the door up for Darnell Mooney to kind of shine a bright light on that Chicago offense that now does not have Matt Nagy. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see for that Chicago offense, to see how they really utilize Darnell Moore and David Montgomery to kind of uptick their offense, which has been last for many, many years.
Yes, now we'll just kind of go over the teams overall. So we'll start with your team, Korea. So you had Joe Burrow, quarterback, David Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins at running back, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, wide receiver, and then your 2 flexes were Amon-Ra St. Brown and Darnell Mooney. What are your kind of overall feelings, taking a look back at your team?
Well, if I didn't get screwed over by my running back picks, Ari Kozlow, I'm just kidding. I feel like this team is actually pretty solid. For me, this team has a lot of upside. You see guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Darnell Mooney, J.K. Dobbins after an injury year, who we didn't see him play. David Montgomery and Darnell Mooney, now new head coaches, out of a better offense now. So, and then obviously Joe Burrow, we saw his offense just pretty much be electric last year. And I think now that he has a better O-line, I think he'll have a lot more time in the pocket to make more better throws, more accurate throws. So I like my team. Yes, obviously Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, that's a great 1-2 duo. I would have loved to take a running back at 2, but all the running backs I wanted to take got taken in 1, 2, 3 order, so I had to settle with A.J. Brown. But yeah, I'm okay with this team. Obviously, it's a mock draft, and stuff happens. So, but yeah, I would say I'm pretty satisfied.
So now I'll go over my team. So I got Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris at running back, T. Higgins and Jalen Waddle at wide receiver, and then Cam Akers and Brandon Cooks at my 2 flex. Obviously, for the most part, I mean, we draft our own players, so we're usually gonna like our mock drafts or our teams more than most. But I mean, I think I have possibly 3 RB1s and Mixon, Harris, and Akers. And then I think Higgins and Waller Higgins is the upside, and I think Waddle and Cooks are both going to be pretty safe in PPR. And Schultz, like I said before, I think he could be the number 2 target easily for Dak Prescott, with both Blake Jarwin and Amari Cooper gone in Dallas, and Gallup's probably going to miss the first few weeks at least of the season. So yeah, I really like this team. Again, this is with computers, and so Akers would probably go a little bit earlier, in an actual mock draft with real people. But other than that, I think this might be pretty accurate. Maybe Jalen Waddle goes a little bit earlier, depending on how people view him with Tyreek Hill coming in. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is with computers, so a lot of these picks made by the other teams aren't going to really be how it works out in an actual draft or an actual mock with real people. So again, moving forward, we're going to do these with real people to kind of make them more realistic with actual people, that not just computers that are kind of going based off whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but
there's an algorithm.
Yeah, algorithm. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. But yeah, I think that will do it. Unless there's anything else you want to go over today, Korea.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah, my Warriors are down so much, I'm not even going to care to watch the score right now. I heard 52, and I said, good night from Memphis. Good night from Memphis. So, but obviously, we will see you guys on Monday, Friday. We're not going to have an episode because that man over there, Ari Kaza, was graduating from the University of Arizona. Shout out to him. Congratulations. Obviously, huge accomplishment. So, for all our viewers right here, if you want, you can give him a little shout out, say happy congratulations. But yeah, Ari, I'm proud of you. Congratulations, homie. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. I know it goes by fast, but enjoy the walk, enjoy the moment, and savor it all in. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. But we will see you guys on Monday. We'll obviously be going over the NFL schedule, especially the Seahawks schedule. We'll see how fair we can do in our 17 games of hell. I like to call that.
I saw a rumor that week 1 Sunday Night Football is Denver at Seattle, so that will definitely.
Oh, they're gonna put that week 1.
I mean, it was a rumor on Twitter, so it's not official or anything. But
I mean, yeah, I saw another rumor that Bills Rams could be the season opener, the whole season opener for that Thursday night game. So that could be a Super Bowl preview maybe. Definitely Bills got a lot better this offseason. Rams pretty much one of the favorites out of the NFC once again. We'll get into that on Monday, along with some more mock drafts, fantasy football talk, and we'll catch you up with all the latest news in NBA as well. Obviously, since we're moving to probably the Western and Eastern Conference Finals in just a short time, so we'll keep you updated. But we will see you soon. This has been another episode of AKP Sports Talk, and we will see you guys on Monday.